This is here. This is called the pull. They're pulling me someplace. It could be here, but it doesn't feel here, it feels more here. Please listen. Are you guys one family? I'm not trying to get information, but if you're three separate friends, you may not know each other's stories. Do you understand? All right, please listen. This is very odd, but I have to interpret it. When I say odd, it means I have to interpret an image, a sign, okay? Sometimes people get fractures to the skull. Yes, I played sports all my life. People get chipped up, people get banged up. You play lacrosse, you play football, you play softball, you do martial arts, you're gonna get nicked, right? It just happens, right? But they're telling me about someone either who had a fracture in the skull or there was a pressure in the head. Would you guys know the person that either had pressure in the head or a wounding of the head, and they determined either a tumor underneath the surface or a bleed that broke apart? Yes, come on. No, not possible. I don't do possiblies. It's like saying, is this possibly Saturday? No. Let me do it again. Okay. I don't mean to be rude. No. What's your name, Bob?
Barbara.
Hi, Miss Barbara. Young lady?
Brianna.
Go ahead.
Courtney.
Okay, I thought it would be. Okay, but hear me out. They're specifically going to the head. What's in the head? But they're showing me an indentation or a compression fracture. Are you sure someone didn't get, not shot, it doesn't feel like a shot. You know, someone got hit with a hockey puck, someone slammed their head off a car door. There is something about the fracture of the skull.
Alive or passed?
Living.
That they're alive?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Who had the injury? Who had the injury to the skull where the side of the skull was fractured?
They survived it, yes.
Okay, then I misunderstood. Don't give me anything else.
Yeah.
If someone had an injury to the side of the head as a result of an auto accident or a motorcycle flipping, something like that, and they fractured the skull, Miss Courtney, don't tell me who, how do you know that? Were you there? Were you with the family?
Present, no.
I'm not saying, did you see it? Did you talk to the doctors? Did you talk to the family? Say, oh my God, what happened? He went through the windshield, something occurred, fractured his head, the door slammed. That's this. I was standing there and they told me to come here and speak of this. With all respect, right? But they're not only just telling me about a fracture of the skull, because they're making me feel initially it looked like only a fracture, but there was a bleed going on. Something was pooling. They may have had some survival time, which is what you're implying. Yes, you kind of gave me that a little bit, just to be honest. But there's also a reference to, though, of the chest and throat complex. You understand? Now, people can have breathing issues, people can have heart attack issues. Would you know offhand if that same person eventually either had pressures in the chest wall or a caving in of the chest?
I would assume.
Okay, assuming is not an answer.
But I don't know. I can't confirm that.
Okay. I'm not judging, I'm just...
In relation to this, the fracture?
Yes.
Then that would be a no.
Did someone, that crossed over, they did not cross over? Because she said they crossed.
They're now crossed over.
Okay. Would you know offhand if they had, I mean, people have respiratory issues when they die. I get all of that.
Right.
I understand. But there is something about either the incomplete heart function, there is something about the heart breaking down.
Yes,
Let's
but
be
not
clear.
in relation to the accident.
No, I'm not connecting the dots. But if you lost your left arm in a car accident 1 year, and you lost your right leg in another car accident 5 years later, and I talk about a missing leg, missing arm, it's the same person with tenure.
It's the same person.
That's who this is. I mean, I don't know who they are to you. Who is this? I have no, now you can.
My father-in-law.
With respect. So if the man you're married to, this is his dad. If you noticed, I was sitting over, pay attention. I was sitting over here. I was sitting over here, and they told me to walk to here. Why would I share this with you guys? It's not a pleasant story about someone that cracked their skull and eventually surrendered to a heart attack or lung compression, and they wound up dying. Yes? Well, with respect, this is your husband's
Father.
dad, right? Would you know offhand, without telling me, just if you understand, say, yeah, I understand this. If when he died, your husband was not there?
No.
He was not there?
He was not there.
That's right. There's something about an apology coming in from his father to his son. Now, if they were away on business, if he was serving our great military, if he was working as a firehouse guy overnight and his father died at 2 in the morning and he couldn't get there and he tried to get off and he couldn't do it, I'm not talking about that. This is a breaking of a stick. Did they have a falling out? What's this distance between the two of them?
I think it was just the way he died.
Okay, so, but if he's telling me I was looking for my son, now I'm not making your husband get upset, I don't want you to do that. But if you're telling me he died this way and his own son your husband was not with him when he crossed. I just need to know that. Last comment, because I want to get to a lot of people, okay? Remember, I came over, I don't know you guys. I see empty air just like you. Why would I say this? Now, I want to say something. Your name again? Who had the surgery that removed their leg up to the hip? Come on.
So did you remove the leg?
Or they had a loss of a limb up to the hip bone, or was born with a birth defect. Yes, you know who I'm talking about.
Well, the same individual that she's referring to did have an amputation, but not to the hip.
Okay.
Although they wanted
Did they do a leg amputation?
to.
Okay, then come back to me. If you said, no, he had an infection in his right finger, or there's no amputation at all, or he had part of his ear bitten off in a wrestling match, I'm not talking about that. My brother-in-law had that. Somebody bit his ear off in a wrestling match.
His full leg up to the hip.
Okay, why would I say these things to you? Because he remembers. And to make sure you know the identification of who this person is, he's coming to your beautiful daughter, whose father-in-law passed away, and there was conversation about taking his hip off. He had a fractured skull, and he had also died of a heart problem. I don't know you. Why would I know any of this? Or I could say to you, I have a nice man here who is sending white bird feathers, and you would have no idea who it is, would you? And then I would tell it to this guy, there's bird feathers, and I tell it to this guy, there's bird feathers. Where's the facts? Do you understand? I'm not trying to be a pain in the ass, but I'm trying to have you understand. Please don't get swept up in fantasy. I'm begging you. You do what you want when you leave me, but please don't do it to the soul. Please. I'm here. Now everybody's attention is with me now all of a sudden, right? Because people don't expect it, and I don't blame you. I do this every day, and I still don't believe it. And I don't use the word belief right casually. I do it every day, just about every day of the week. And I understand people like, what the hell is this guy? This is very strange. Not that you're strange. Well, maybe a little. This is a little odd.
Okay.
A little odd.
Go for it.
I have to interpret first. When outsiders say they're speaking to the dead, you ever hear this one? Go home. No one speaks to dead people. What's your name?
Carrie.
Please watch. Jokes aside now. If you were the psychic and you said to me, you were speaking to my father, I would say, okay, listen to me. You're talking about my best friend that ever breathed. You're talking about my dad. Don't screw around with my broken heart. Ask my father who found him dead. You tell me that, and I'll believe you. I need cop proof, not a manipulation of a wound. Do you understand me? Mm-hmm. If you said to me, I found him dead in his easy chair at home, I'd be all in. You understand me? Mm-hmm. So when people play with an emotional person and they see the wounding, it is very easy to manipulate you. I will not allow for it. I'm very edgy when it comes to talking about people's families. Does that make any sense? Please listen. Now, how are you guys connected? Mom and daughter. Okay, I think I said hello, but I did a lot of people here, so I don't remember. Please listen. I want to get to a lot of people. There are people that are told they have to go to an emergency room. There are people that are told they have to go to the hospital, right? They're told it. Like, look, you really look like crap. We got to do something with you here. I don't want to go. I don't want to go. I don't want to go. You got to go. You got to go, right? And they forced them to go. And either they signed out and came back home again, or they refused to go and they died because of it. Who refused to go to the hospital? It's right. Come on.
My husband.
Okay, I'm just asking, with all respect. Is your husband crossed?
Yeah.
Oh, you're a young woman. Oh, I'm sorry, sweetheart. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But if you're telling me that the men that you were married to, I'm sorry. I don't do shows. I'm not a performer. I'm a dad, I'm a husband, and a very proud husband, and a very proud dad, you know, and I'm sorry, sweetheart. With respect, if you said your husband died in Afghanistan and left to die over there, right? Or if your husband worked as a New York City fireman, or he was a cop shot on the job, or he was a sanitation worker where a truck rolled over him, right? That's not this. There's a man here that's struggling with something, and he has a beautiful young wife, mother-in-law. You're saying, you gotta go, you gotta go, you gotta go. And he keeps resisting it. Yes or no? Mm-hmm. This is public. You don't have to tell me anything you don't show. I just want to make sure. How do you know he was resisting?
Oh, well, I found out after.
But how do you know?
Through the medical records.
Okay. So if you're telling me that he refused to go, now I'm going to say something sensitive. Was he not living with you at the time?
No, he was living with me.
Who lived in 2 different rooms? Was that you and your husband?
Yeah.
I'm just asking. Oh, hang on. No. I don't want to upset anybody, but listen to me. When my father worked narcotics, he'd have an arrest at 10 at night, and he wouldn't get home until 5 in the morning. So my mother would say, the kids are getting up, Eddie. My father's name was Eddie. They'll be up in an hour. Go sleep in the back bedroom. But under normal conditions, my parents slept they were married 67 years. They slept together until my dad and mom died, right? But there are people, respectfully, who snore, or they have other medical conditions, whatever it may be. But if you're telling me that your husband, yes. And you slept in separate rooms, whether it be snoring, work rotations on the job, medication issues, something would not allow you, I'm not saying you didn't love each other, I'm not implying that, but something would not allow you to like this, nightly. Yes or no? Yes. Not once in a blue moon because you had a head cold or something. I'm not talking about that nonsense. Right or wrong? Yes. I don't know you. Why do I know this? Because your husband knew it too. Your husband is crossed? He's still here with you. Still in the separate rooms? Yes?
Yes.
I'm just asking.
No, I'm looking, I'm stunned, that's all.
You're stunned. I'm stunned. Look at you too. But the man, this is, I don't want to upset you.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
You don't know what I'm about to say.
Go for it.
In the family, did someone have trouble having children? Do you have no children?
No children.
Okay, with respect, you could have said, no, I have 2 kids, you know, we've been married a long time, you know, I got married at 20 years old, blah, 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 whatever, right? People do. But he's making me feel there are no children connected. So in the absence of him, there's no child looking for their dad in that way. But he says to me, not saying, expressing to me, that, my mother-in-law doesn't live with the man she's married to, and she has a child or children. Does that make sense? You understand that analogy? He keeps making the phone ring in my head. Were you called that he died?
No, I called him.
That's it. Because rather than saying, I never left his side, I sat on the bed the whole time, right?
Yeah.
Now, unfortunately, out in the world, people have issues with medications, yes?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah.
I shared my own. I'm not shy about it. I lived in hell 36 years ago. I was in a bad spot. But God's grace and AA saved my life, to be honest. Why is he making me reference these? Was there any medication issues with him? Or did he refuse to take his meds?
He wanted his meds changed.
That's it. Because he wants me to talk about medication. Now, if you said, Robert, no. He was run over by a train. He was working for the subway system in the city, MTA. He got hit with a subway car, and he was on his last legs. And I just got a call to get up to Beekman downtown as quick as I could get there. And he died before I got there. That's not this guy. This is someone who was dying, struggling, asked to go to a hospital, did not want to go. Yes? Yes? Yeah. Eventually, he feels like he got there, and he wound up dying there without you there. Yes? Did he not die in the hospital, or did he come home again and die? Oh, so he came back home. So you're the one that found him. That's it. Okay, I misunderstood a little bit. I have to interpret it. Someone's phone just did something. Everybody stare at her, please. Okay? So that's who's rising here is your husband. And just to connect a tiny little bit about his mother-in-law, he says, they're a little weird. They live in separate rooms.
Well, there you go.
I'm trying to make it light. Does that make sense?
That's exactly what it is.
Okay, I got to move on, all right? I'm trying to get to a lot of, normally I would go for 20 minutes here. But then people get upset. Well, the reason is because people want what they want. They don't, no disrespect, they don't really worry about the healing taking place with the other, as long as I get what I want. I think I just crushed the mic. Oh, okay. They're pulling me. They're pulling me. Listen to me carefully. Are you guys all together? I'm not sure. Okay, then it may jump from this young woman back. Okay? All right, just listen to me. Do one of you know someone that was very, very badly burned? Yeah, you do. Okay, please listen. Okay. What's your name?
Katie.
Hi, Kate. Unfortunately, burns are part of the human experience in some cases, right? And I've worked with burned children. I work with burned adults. It's a little rough if you're not ready for it. It can be very edgy. As a matter of fact, just this morning I was talking to a friend of mine who worked 20 years at the Nassau County Burn Unit. So he really knows his way around burns, you know. Just by coincidence, I spoke with him this morning. But I'm not talking about getting a finger on a hot stove. I'm talking about either a scalding or a house fire burn or a building burn where someone was burned up. Was someone badly burned?
Yes, not by fire,
Okay, if they were burned by acid or if they were burned by electric.
by the road.
Okay. Oh, like a road rash. No, okay, I'm not interpreting that as a burn. But if you see them or you know, like a motorcycle, that kind of a deal, is that what you're saying? It feels different.
Okay.
That's not it. I'll do it again. Who had the burn in the house fire? Who had the scalding? What?
My brother's house went on
Fire.
but he was not.
Oh, okay, I have to interpret.
Okay.
I don't mean to be a pest. I have to interpret. So if you're telling me your biological brother, as a married guy, as an adult, had his own house, is that what you're saying? Did he also cross? That's him. Now I got it. That's it. So I'm not, just please, but what I want you to watch, forget about me. Forget about me. I'm just a Rob. I was way over there and they told me to come to this corner. Why would I do that? Do you understand how they call? They're calling me. Do you understand this? Maybe not yet, right? So I have a person here that wants me to talk about the big fire, right? Which I'm interpreting as a burn thing, right? Now, if you're telling me what's your name?
Christina.
Hi, Christina. If you're telling me that your brother's home burned to the ground or was uninhabitable, not just a flash fire with eggs in the kitchen, and the ceiling was damaged, then they said, shh, be careful next time. I'm not talking about that. And you have the 911 rescuers show up, or you have firehouse volunteers showing up, or if you come in the city, the guys out of Queens show up in their truck, whatever they do, right? Yes? Okay. So if you're telling me your brother's house was damaged to the point of either he had to have it rebuilt and or move on, but a major burn, not just a little poke in the snow, right?
Yes.
So far so good?
Yes.
But he is also crossed, yes?
Not from that.
I didn't say that.
Yes.
He's identifying something.
Right.
If I said to you, was your brother a U.S. Air Force Marine Corps pilot, you could say, yes, it's part of his ID. That's all, he's just identifying it. If I said to you, do you know anyone that ever had a house fire, I could find somebody too. Right or wrong? Okay. But I have a soul of a person here that crossed over that's coming to his sister. And he's saying, mention, Robert, to my sister that my house burned, but we had it rebuilt eventually, and I wanted to go back in. Something similar to this, yes? I'm just asking, yes or no? Okay, so some houses get burned badly, you can't rebuild them. They just say, it's a wash, here's the insurance check, I'll get a different house. And other people say, no, I want to rebuild the house I grew up in, or my kid's house, or whatever, right or wrong. It's a little edgy. Was he found deceased? You would know that.
In the hospital.
Was he found dead under someone's care? Did they walk in and find him deceased?
I would imagine the nurses did, and it was during.
Okay, stay with me. Listen to me. It's one thing to get a call from a medical team saying, listen, this is going bad. You better get up here. Or if you're at Sloan Kettering with cancer, they might say, listen, tomorrow's the last day. You better come to the hospice tonight. They're not going to get through the night. Right? That soul is making me feel, and don't get upset, that he was looking for people. But something interrupted that process, or he died, I take it, in his sleep, or he coded in his sleep. Something occurred. Yes or no?
Yes.
Why would I know that? I don't know you. Right or wrong? And it's about the man who had the house fire. Now, Joseph is a common name, yes? Who's Josephine, Jojo, Joanne? Or John? Who's got the big, it's a common name, I get it. Who's got, there is.
Your brother, Joseph. Well, my brother.
Are you drunk?
Another brother. Well, I have two brothers. One is crossed over. My brother Joseph is still alive. So I
Were you here before or were you sleeping? When I said before, if you remember that over in that corner, I said that all messages are for the living, and I used the gentleman in the corner that's sleeping, and I said, if you got a brother elsewhere and they come, they're counting on you to recognize they're calling out to the other one by name. Do you remember that piece?
Yeah.
What a girl. So if you're telling me, young lady, jokes aside now, that he has a biological, I don't have a brother Joe. I have friends that are Joe. No brothers, no kids. None. It's a beautiful name. Jesus, Mary, Joseph, the whole bit. I get it. But none of my family. But your other brothers, Joe. Right?
Yes.
He's making me feel he's around one of your parents, though. You want to be a parents of crossed?
Yes. Both my parents.
Okay, don't tell me. Don't do it. Let me explain. She accidentally said something. I won't allow it. And the reason why I won't allow it, it becomes an interview. And many people see guys like me, and they tell them all kinds of stuff. And you become the psychic's best friend, because you're feeding the guy information, or the woman information. Stop. Right? So to say that your brother is living as Joe, you have another brother that has crossed over in the hospital with no one there except medical team to find him. His house burned down, and he's telling me both parents are around. Now this next part is tricky, and it's either here or next to you. Who raised someone else's child? Come on, woman.
I mean, my niece and nephew spent a lot of time with my mom because my sister was a nurse and worked, and she practically raised them, but
That's true. It's a little different.
Yeah.
Did someone give up a child for adoption? Before you say no, don't say no so quick. Was someone raised by an adoptive parent?
Catherine,
Go ahead.
I was married at one point to someone who was adopted.
That's all I want. So if you had a former spouse, yes?
Yes.
I'm just asking. If you had a former spouse who happened to be an adopted man, things didn't work out for whatever reasons, with respect to you,
Yes.
it just ended or whatever happened, but he was adopted, yes? I take it your brother that died was at the wedding party, may have met him, may have known him, no?
Well, it would have been his brother-in-law.
Well, yes, that's just,
I'm sorry.
if this shows up on TikTok,
Yes.
I'm leaving.
Yes.
Okay. You can't stop at the bar before you come here anymore. Are we clear? Okay. Remember, I don't know you. I'm not sure I want to know you. But if you're telling me that your brother's house burned to the ground, he died in the hospital with no one there. Both your parents have crossed over. The guy that you were originally married to is divorced, but also was an adopted young man, and your brother knew him as the brother-in-law, yes?
Yes.
He's not only describing what happened to him, he's telling me a little bit about your world to make sure you know it's him.
Yeah, oh my God.
What do you think I'm doing here? But do you understand? Now, this next part is very sensitive. Okay? It's a little odd. Did someone have a urinary catheter, or did someone have a drain in their groin? Like for a bladder wound or a bladder swelling?
While he was in the hospital.
No, not just your brother.
Oh,
Did one of your parents have either a catheterization or a groin drain? Who had the swelling of the bladder? This kind of,
grandmother?
I don't know. How do you know that?
I know that because my grandmother had, when she passed, was completely.
Was she ascites? Was she like this?
Oh, yes.
That's her. So if they had an ascites, we call it, or an inflammation, usually that's with alcoholism, people get big bellies. I'm not saying it was,
No, it was from stomach cancer.
but if she had some kind of a, did you know if, with respect to your grandmother, do you know if you saw her in person? Did you see her?
Yes.
I'm just asking. And she had a drain that allowed her to go to the bathroom, if she had support systems mechanically to allow her to use the John. Do you know that as a fact?
I was young, but I.
Do you remember it?
Yes.
Did she live with you guys?
No.
Then you just visited a lot and saw her?
Yes.
I just want to make sure how you got to know it. Who's Tommy? Who's Thomas? I'm just, with respect. I said it's right next door to you.
Yeah, where?
I'm not asking if you know a Thomas in the world. Both have crossed?
Yes.
Yeah. So there's a reference here. I'm sorry. What's your name?
Eileen.
Hi, Eileen. So if there's a reference to Tom and Tom, like Tom Tom. Well, no. I mean, that's one of those movies. I don't know. What's that movie with Laurel and Hardy, Little Tom Tom? That thing, right. So, I mean, there are references. But if you're telling me, respectfully, that your father's name is Thomas, his son is Thomas. See, a lot of people do the name thing. My father's name was Edgar from Norway. He didn't really care for his name, so he called me Robert. I chose to put his middle name into my name, Robert E. He didn't really like it. He didn't like it, but I said, I love my father very much, and I said, you're getting it in my name. That's the end of that conversation. So he just shrugged and said, all right, go ahead. But he never really liked it. Whatever reasons, I don't know. I thought it was a cool name, but he didn't care for his own name. Great dad, though. Amazing guy. But that being said, I have a Thomas and a Thomas. You understand? Now, this is a little tricky here. Does somebody here with this group work with cancer children? Who worked in the pediatric unit? Who worked in the peds unit? Yes, yes, yes. You're saying no. I disagree. Did somebody work or have a child who had pediatric cancer? Who had the child in an oncological unit? Come on.
We had a very disabled,
Yes. he did
God,
have-
okay, that's it. I have to interpret.
and Tom, that's my
Where's-
father and brother also.
Yeah, my sister.
My sister,
Oh, your sisters. And what's your name?
Catherine.
Oh, hi, Catherine. Nice to meet you. Let's try this again. I mentioned before that I work in special ed for a very long time, right? My oldest son is autistic, right? He just got married in July. He's what they call high functioning. But they keep telling me about a soul of someone that had major disabilities. So if someone was born with acute cerebral palsy, if someone was born with acute Down syndrome, where they had developmental belly issues, incomplete heart valve stuff, thickened tongues, these beautiful, loving, gracious children, crossed over. Who's that?
Richard.
Your brother. Another brother. So who do you think Tom and Tom, if you like,
Could it be
have?
Dom?
No, it's Tom
My
and,
brother had cerebral palsy.
okay, who's Dominic?
That's my brother.
Okay, it's an echo.
But they're brother also.
But you're sitting 4 inches apart,
Right.
and you're part of the same family. Tony, take her name because she's not coming back. This is the end of her. So if you had a brother named Dominic, did he have cerebral palsy?
Yes.
Did he cross?
Yes.
Oh. You have a brother?
Yes.
Name is Richard,
Yes.
who was also of the Down syndrome genre.
Yes.
Two separate types of struggling.
Yes.
When you work with special needs children, they're all uniquely special, God's grace kids, and they're all made uniquely special in their own unique ways, as we all are. So I have a soul of your brother. Is that the one with the house? Right?
Yes.
Who burned his house down?
Yes.
That guy. He's coming in. His name is Dom. Yes?
Yes.
around, since you guys are very close to each other, around Tom and Tom. You gave me the name Richard to keep the record straight, and you gave me the name Dom to keep the record straight. But I have these disabled children here, both who have crossed,
Yes.
coming here. So you may ask in some way, because they're disabled, are they in a special place, or, you know, that whole thing. And the answer is no. They come together as love because the disabilities end at physical death. Do you understand that? Right? So you have this beautiful relationship here between Tom and Richard. Your beautiful brother Dom, who talks about your brother Joe. You have a brother Joe, you know. Just so you know that. All right, I'm going to go lay down now.
And her adopted husband.
And her adopted
Not
husband.
my husband.
And your husband. Okay, I'm sorry I made this stop. Let me keep going. See, all jokes aside, girls, come back, wake her up. All jokes aside, I don't know you. So I'd like anyone to explain how this is happening. Even for the hardcore skeptics, you can't get around it. I asked before to this young family over here, before I met, some of you were just drifting in. I said, do you ever, I'll ask the whole group, do you ever pray to the people that die? Mm-hmm. Why bother if you don't believe they can hear you? And why bother if you don't believe they can answer you? And they are answering you. But instead of really learning how they answer, you'll accept a quarter on a curb. For shame. I'm in that corner in the back. I just bought those shoes yesterday.
They're so comfortable.
Oh, they're great. Oh, God. I just bought them yesterday. I have the same exact ones. I was going to wear them. I'm liking him more and more. Is this crew all together?
Yes.
What happened to you? She's not including you. So there's 5, yes? All right. Are you family? Just friends? Okay. I'm not trying to get information here. I just want to, well, because when I say one thing, someone says, well, that's not what I want to hear, and then it drifts elsewhere. Don't mind I have to interpret. This is a little odd. Do you guys know what spinal meningitis is? I'm not saying intellectually. In the family. I'm going to push it. Have you ever seen a child with spina bifida or someone that has a lower back issue? I'm not talking a waitress or a construction guy. Who had the broken back or had the swelling in the lower part of the spine?
My sister had surgery.
Okay, what's your name?
Janet.
Okay, I'm not trying to get info here. Are you guys together?
Friends, yeah.
I'm just asking politely. So you guys are friends? How are you guys?
Friends,
Okay, 3 friends. Friends. This gentleman?
friend, cousin.
Okay. So if you're telling me, please listen. If you're telling me that your sister, your biological sister, had lower back surgery, right? Now, I'm not talking as an adult. Did this happen when she was young?
No.
Then it's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for someone who, as a child, similar to down there, it's a little different though. Did somebody have an odd spine or scoliosis? Who was that?
My sister,
Okay, come back to, your name please?
Mary Ann,
Nice to meet you. And how are you guys connected?
boyfriend.
Okay, sorry, what, your name?
Chris.
Hi, Chris, nice to meet you. I think it's at a low, but I forget stuff. So hear me out. I understand, believe me, I get it. I worked around special ed for 30 years, right? I have a son with autism. An autistic child, in most cases, doesn't have anything else. They have a processing issue. They're not born with no legs or something. You know, they can have that, but it's very rare. Extremely, not because of the autism, it's a combination deal, right? Very rare. But if you're telling me your younger sister or your sister, your older sister, whatever the case might be, she personally had spinal surgery?
Not spinal surgery, an injury.
Okay. This is not a court of law. I'm not trying to be funny. Did she suffer an injury to her spine that affected her gait? Did it affect her way to move around? Or was it just like a couple of days uncomfortable?
Throughout her life, they call it.
That's what I'm just asking. I'm not saying did it leave her in bed, but if you're telling me there was a lower back issue, I need to know. All right, then both listen. I have my wife, of course, and I got 2 adult daughters, and we always bring up breast cancer. You got to go for the mammographies, you got to get your checkups. If you don't, you're a bubblehead. And for guys, you got to get prostate cancer checks. They checked my prostate, and I had cancer. I'm 9 years in recovery. If I had not gone, I would not be standing here. My doctor said, you had your PSA, I don't like it, go. And I went, oh my God, I wound up getting that cyber knife over at Winthrop. Saved my life. I would have been dead, for sure. Right? Okay. So I understand things happen. I get it. But there's a reference here about it. Now, women can get breast cancer, obviously, but they're bringing this up as a topic to me. I'm not asking if you're sensitive about it or compassionate about it. It's not what I'm talking about. Did someone in your family deal with breast cancer? Now, stay with me. Would you know offhand if the breast... Listen, I'm not an oncologist, so I don't know what I'm really talking about, but I have a little sense of it. Sometimes women get double mastectomies, that kind of a thing, yes? Otherwise, it might just be, well, we'll keep our eye on it. It's not that serious. We'll give you radiation. We'll keep it. We want to keep you intact. We don't want any damage done to you. So, but this feels like about someone who had both breasts removed, yes? Did someone have breast cancer? They were having their breasts removed or on the table to have it done?
My mom,
Crossed over?
yeah,
And again, what's your name again?
Marianne.
All right, listen to me. This is the first time I've mentioned breast cancer all afternoon. First time. And I'm only talking to you. And that woman, if I'm understanding it properly, she had mastectomies or she was scheduled for them and they didn't take place. But something about the decision about my breast surgery, does that ring a bell?
She had one.
Okay, did she have it removed? And as far as you know, do you know if what was remaining did not metastasize? Ah, this is what I'm talking about. Let me move over here. All right, forgive me for 1 second. And don't worry. You don't have to lean. You're leaning past the dead guy. Huh? Nice. All right, so with respect, if you're telling me that your mother had a single breast removed, the oncologist said, this should do it. You should be good. We'll put a prosthetic in. We'll tweak you up. You'll do whatever you got to do. We'll make you look like a complete developed woman. And she's like, okay, this is good. They got it done. I should be okay. But it went back into her system again, right? And if it metastasized out up to the brain, into the liver, wherever it may have gone, but she makes me feel it flooded her soul. Yes? Mm-hmm. Not just, oh, well, it showed up in the other breast a little bit and she's home right now. She's fine. She just had a treatment yesterday. That's not her, right?
No.
But she started off by mentioning her other daughter, right? Mm-hmm. To say that, oh, is there another child in the family? Give me a break. But she's mentioning her child who hurt her back as a kid. And it that's your sister, no? Yeah. And it haunted her, your sister, through her later years. It never really allowed her to have completeness, yes?
Yeah, to an extent.
Well, no. I mean, if you said it was just a childhood thing that lasted a few weeks, and she's an Olympian athlete,
No.
well, there's a difference. But if you're telling me it never really let her free up to really pursue track and field and kick and move and jump and run, and maybe she's okay, but I'm not overdoing it, but she's identifying it as such. Now, Valentine's Day is a big day, is it not?
Yeah.
I mean, for a lot of people. He's watching very carefully when I'm talking now. Right? So people get married on it. People die on it. People have stuff on it. People do it for New Year's. People do it for Christmas. People do it for Thanksgiving. People do it for anniversary dates. There's a million reasons why people could celebrate crap. But your mother's asking me to discuss Valentine's Day.
She was married around Valentine's Day.
Not around. It has to be within a few days of it.
I don't remember what day.
That's fair. That's fair. Maybe that's why I'm not talking to you. But if you're telling me that your mother got married in the month of February,
Yeah.
do you know that?
Yeah.
You sure about this now? Just want to make sure. Why would I mention that month to you? Why would I mention the fact that your mother had metastasis of breast cancer? Why would I mention the fact that your mother has another child with a bad back? This is really sensitive, this piece. Are you okay?
Yeah.
No, you don't know what I'm about to say, but this will be sensitive. Where does the man come in that abandoned the family?
That would be my father.
Okay, with respect. You have a guy that can go to prison. A guy could get hurt at work and becomes permanently disabled, is in a rehab forever. People can break out in late-stage schizophrenic behavior. People can develop ALS and they can't stay home anymore. A nightmare of a disease. And then you have men that just don't want to be home. They find other women. They like bar life. They like to gamble. They just don't want the responsibility of being the father. They want the union, and then they don't want to know about it. Yes or no?
Yep.
No disrespect. Did your father abandon your mother?
Pretty much. Yeah, I mean,
Come on, spit it out.
Mutual. They were divorced.
Okay, hold on. If your mother said, listen, I can't deal with this guy anymore, I can't do it, he's always leaving, he's always out, he's not coming home for 3 days at a time, whatever his MO was, yes? And it got to the point where he pulled apart like, fine, goodbye, right? I want to go off and play, driving your mother into a corner where she couldn't do anything else. Yes or no? And that's the woman that crossed over. I don't know you. That's more than interesting. The mind says it's interesting. Despite the malas on your wrist, the soul knows. Those are mala. Do you know what they are? Okay. Why do you wear mala? I'm just asking.
Balance.
I mean like a spiritual balance?
Yeah, spiritual balance.
So you're imbalanced?
No, I'm pretty
I'm
balanced.
teasing you, I'm teasing you.
And these are
Many traditions, Christian traditions have the rosaries. They have the 1 decade rosaries. You wear them around your neck. There you go. You got yourself covered. Okay. Right? With respect. People put on a lot of protection when they see me. I got people coming in with crosses. They're throwing holy water on me. They're doing all kinds of stuff. And then I say I work for my boss, and they go, really? I said, yeah. It's a gift of grace. And when we're dealing with people's death, I don't play. Why did your mother have a hard time getting buried?
oh my God.
What do you think I'm doing here? Well, how come?
Ay.
You got him nervous now. He's thinking about Valentine's Day.
Because the person that kind of held the deed to the plot didn't really want to let her in.
That's it. She may have been forced in there eventually,
Yeah,
but she's telling me I had nowhere to go. Yes or no?
yes.
With respect, we can't giggle that stuff away. We can't. That's why you've come, no?
Yeah, yeah.
Ah, that's why you've come. I'm coming over here. I got to get some water. He doesn't know what to do with me. No, I'm just teasing. I'm teasing. That was a joke. But I appreciate it. Thank you. Don't mind my faces. You guys see empty air. I see empty air. I see the camera. I see my brother Tony. I see you guys. How is this happening? And if you're really paying attention, not being entertained, everywhere I move, they know the story. And every story is very different, yes? Right? So obviously there's something else here. The question is, why don't you see it? All right, please listen. And again, I have no idea who's coming, so you have to just understand me. There are people that get the paddles, right? Yes? They're showing me this. Was resuscitation attempted on someone? What's your name, please? Hi, sir. And young fella, what's your name again? Michael. Okay. And mom?
Jean.
Hi, Gene, sir. Nice. This is your son, right? Your mom, mother. I just want to make sure. I'm just repeating. Please listen. Okay. There are people that have emergency resuscitation done. You may be in a hospital setting and they got to crash cart somebody and they're flying down the hall, the nurses, the medical team. Amazingly great people, these nurses. They really put their hearts on the line, in my opinion, and they're trying to save lives every minute. They're in the grunt, you know, they're in it, right? But did you personally try to save somebody? You didn't give CPR to somebody, or did you see someone get resuscitated? Who had the resuscitation done? The paddles. Yes. No, yes. Was someone dunk 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 dunk? Okay, it's got to be in that genre. Okay, did someone collapse and someone saw it? Did someone get hurt and they were trying to bring them back to life? Yes or no? How do you know that took place? Were you there? Okay, I'm just asking. So I'm just trying to understand what's going on here. So if you're telling me, because this is the first time I've mentioned this, so if you're telling me that someone tried to save someone's life, a civilian jumping in, or a firehouse guy showed up, a 911 rescue guy show up, and someone's in big trouble, yes? They're coding, they're passing out, they're not surviving, 911's on the front lawn, or they're in the living room of the house. It has to be like this. Got it so far? I'm not talking about someone that broke their leg and they just take it up to Nassau County Medical Center for a cast, right? And they just give them air so they can breathe easier and not be so stressed. I'm not referring to that. Was someone dying in their own home? And you know as a fact can give it, Mike, that they came to the house, 911, they show up, these great American heroes, go fly in there, and they're trying to keep someone alive. Yes? And would you know offhand if they didn't make it? So you would hope that these great firehouse people, they get you from point A into the hospital, get the right meds, drive the needles, whatever these guys got to do, bring a breath of life back, and you fight from there. But it didn't happen. May I ask how this person is connected to you? This is your son? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I write all the time on Facebook, if you've ever seen me, I never witnessed a greater sorrow when a parent loses a child. There is nothing on earth that touches it. Nothing. This is why I don't do shows, I don't do performances, I don't play. We're talking about her child. Yes? So if there was a spontaneous heart attack, but there's other stuff here. I don't want to upset this family. Why is there an apology connection here? I don't want to say anything. If you, with respect, if your son had CP, or if your son had a congestive heart failure, or if your son had other medical issues, you might say, okay, we kind of knew it was coming, I know it. But he's making me feel he did something to himself, either he ingested, with respect, sir, or he took something that put himself in harm's way. It almost makes me feel, and I don't want to upset your mom and dad, Michael, but it almost makes me feel like he was punishing himself. I don't like this, I don't like this, I don't like this, to the point at which either a 911 call came out from somebody else, perhaps his wife, perhaps other family like that, and they come in to try to save him, and he's already turning blue, he's already coding, and there's no coming back. Does that make sense? Why on God's great earth would I want to tell you guys that story? I haven't shared that story yet, right or wrong. Who is Anthony? I know that's Anthony, it's my friend, but who else? Who's Andy, Anna? Who's got the A-N sound? Andrew, who's got that A-N? Annie is whom? Oh, okay. I mean, you could, what's your name?
Jean.
Miss Jean, if I mention something to you, just say okay, if it makes sense. You understand? Otherwise you wind up like, in the corner. one thing that may be in your heart, Mama's crossed. And who is Rose? Who's Roro?
I have, my father's sister with Rosie.
Close enough.
She passed.
Not just, yes, I know. You may be asking, I don't know if you are, is my son alone? Was he put in a purgatory prison because he did something he shouldn't have done? Did he commit the sin of interrupting his own life, which in the Catholic tradition means you're doomed? Not with my boss. That will never happen. Men of women of religion might state it. Not that guy. That's why I love him. Got it? So there's always mercy given to the confused. Father, forgive them. They know not what they do. Right? So we have your son who was around Anne or Anna or Annie. He's also telling me he has this woman, Ro or Rosemary, with him as well. Right? You might say logically, well, he didn't really know them or whatever. And when people tell me that, I often say to my guests, I don't know you. Right? We don't know each other respectfully. You may have known my face, but that's about it. But if your son died in house or he died in transport, and they were attempting CPR, and either his wife or his children found him unconscious on the floor, they couldn't wake him from bed, something like this. He may have had addiction issues, he may have had alcohol issues, but there was something that took his soul down. Yes or no? So we didn't slip in the bathtub and hit his head after a football game, and you found him on the bathroom floor and they're trying to revive this guy. No disrespect, sir, but he keeps coming to your beautiful wife, and he keeps saying, tell her I'm sorry, I wouldn't listen, and it killed me. I'm sorry. Can I ask you one little thing, if that's okay?
Yeah.
I'm a big animal guy. Love animals. A lot of my friends, quite a few of them, hunt. They like to hunt. They don't ask me to go because I won't shoot an animal. I won't kill a dog. I won't kill a cat. I won't. A mosquito is in trouble. But that's about it. I even go like that with a fly. I don't try to kill a fly. I just get her out of here. Mosquito, that's the end of your story. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, I won't hurt an animal. It's just my nature, right? But I'm a big pet guy. I have a dog at home now. I've had dogs since I'm this tall. All my life. I've had dogs for 60 years, as long as I can remember. Did somebody bury either a dog collar or dog stuff in a casket? Not with your son, but who's the big dog person? Before you say no. Are you sure? Someone didn't have a dog leash placed in a casket. Someone didn't have a dog ID tags put in. I'm going to push it. In your home, go ahead.
We made dog tags.
That's it.
We don't have dog.
Okay, that's what I'm asking. I'm sorry, I misunderstood. I have to interpret. So what I'm saying is a dog, I'm not saying you have a cat collar.
All of us.
Okay, before you give me, if you notice I do this a lot, because I won't let people give me more. I do all I can to stop it. If you allow the guest to give you stuff, you don't belong standing up here. You just don't. I have to interpret the symbol. If you remember at the beginning of this afternoon, I went like this. And none of you understood it. Why not? Okay, that's my job. You understand? So I have to interpret this. Your son's not doing this, but he says, talk about dog collars or medallions. So if you're telling me across the board, your family, with respect to your son, had dog tags made, thus dog collars, right? I had to interpret it, but he said, if you had dog tags made, and you all have them in honor of his life, or you wear them, or you have them in the pocketbooks, or you have them at home, or you have them hanging off the back of your necks, or we're in the room as we speak. Yes? Why would I mention dog collars, dog tags? Because he knows you carry it. Right? And this is the last little bit. And the day after your son died, that day, did someone die the very next day? I'll wait. Are you sure there weren't 2 funerals back to back? I disagree. There was no other anniversary date of someone else's passing on his day of death or someone else? I believe you. I believe you. Of course I believe you. No. I'll do it again. I have to do it again. Did you have 2 funerals for him? Or 2 services? I mean, people have awakened at church and stuff. I get that. Or they sit shiver and they do something else. I get that. I'm not talking about that. He keeps telling me about the other that died. Okay? Don't strain your head. I'm telling you, they wouldn't give me all of this and just stop it. This is with you. I don't mean to. What's your name again? Teresa. I'm sorry, I forget. In your family, independent, did you have 2 back-to-back deaths? You're certain about that?
My father died on the same
Day as? Okay, so before I throw you out, you'll all be leaving in about a minute with her. I asked if there were 2 days deaths back to back. I did state it like it was someone died today and someone dies tomorrow. I did state it like that. My apologies. But if you're telling me the day your son passed on is the same death date as your father, yes or no? Different years, obviously different years. But if they both died on, you said the 19th? Don't give me information. Shh, shh. I heard you say 19th. If you're telling me that your dad died on the 19th, and with respect, your son, your brother, your son died on the 19th day as well, would that be kind of like 2 back to back? And if you're telling me it wasn't just a separate 19th, but it's the same day that your husband's brother died, is the same day, different year, that your father died, yes or no? I'm going to lay down. Does this go on a lot? Yeah, it does. I got to say something before I move over. My son with the autistic guy, his name is Robert Christopher. Your husband, I keep saying your husband, that's him over there. Your son keeps saying to mention the middle name. Who's Christopher? Is that his name? I'm not asking you to look at me like, wow, I have powers. All I am doing is interpreting who was here. Let's not make this thing mysterious. There's no reason to make it mysterious. What I'm asking of you is why or how do I know any of this? I don't know a person. I mean, I recognize a few faces, but that's it. Do you understand? And it has nothing to do with me. I'm just an interpreter. Let's get this straight. They don't come to the psychic. People think this, you know. People on the outside think that people that go on stage or whatever, they have magic powers and the souls come to them. Yes or no? No. They never leave you. And when they send someone who can interpret for them, they draw me in, like moth to flame. Otherwise, you would need me to bring your mother to you. No, your mother never leaves you. That family, their son will never leave them. Christopher will never leave his brother Michael. Never. Well, he won't. You're welcome. But it's the truth. I don't bullshit people. Cursed for the first time. I'm surprised I haven't cursed earlier. Right? All right, let me continue. I'm right here. Now, how are you two connected? Whew, okay. Because when I go to family, knows what I'm talking about over here. Hold on. Am I a little bit of a nut? Yeah, probably, right? I'm a little nutty. Okay. This is a little strange. What's your name?
Melissa.
And you've said this like 5 times, I know. Forgive me, I'm like an idiot.
Staff.
Stephanie? Please listen. I'm not sure which. When people have trauma or when people get really sick, I don't think it's a big stretch that someone may get an MRI. I don't think it's a big stretch someone may get a CAT scan. I don't think it's a big stretch someone may get an X-ray. The doctors, besides blood work, they have to be a little more thorough than that, I'm sure. Did one of you women just look at someone's CAT scan?
Probably either of us.
Yeah.
All right. Now hang on. If you're in medical school together or you work in that kind of a medical office, you may see them all the time. Is that where you work?
Kind of.
I'm just asking.
Yeah.
Okay. So what they're doing is they're asking me to show something. Now, intellectually, of course, every whole room knows what I'm referring to here. I get that. But if you both work in a radiological unit, or if you both work around CAT scans, or you work in MRI units, you work in medical offices, is that what you do?
We work in the medical field.
Okay, I mean, you may be records, you may be,
Yes.
I'm just asking. Okay, but they're putting medicine around you. Now you could say, no, we're lawyers, we're school teachers, we both own a restaurant up on the North Shore, we're thinking about having you come for a visit. Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of restaurant people come here because they want me to appear, and they want to make sure they're not hiring just some crazy person, that the customers walk out, right? So they do come here. My point is, they're putting CAT scans, MRIs, if you do billings for a local hospital or private office or whatever you may be doing and you work there together, yes or no?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is not hard.
You know what? We work remotely, so it's
Okay, do you work for the same company?
Yes.
Correct.
But we work from our kitchens. Sweet some over here.
We would not been drinking.
Well, you better start. So if you work from home and you're doing medical records or billing, I'm not paying this, I am paying that, you know, you have to make another appointment, whatever you guys do, I'm just asking. Yes?
Yes.
In some homes, in some places, people have common photographs, right? On your desk, you may have a picture of this person. You may have the picture of that same person on your desk. Is that true with you two? Do you both have the same picture of someone that died?
Do you have someone near you? Because I do.
Okay, one of you do. I know it's not uncommon on a
Someone near me.
yeah. It wouldn't be. I mean, it would be weird not to have photographs in a business office. At your home, you got this, you got your kids, you got this, you got that, you got your husband or whatever. I get it. I get it. I'm not talking. This is a picture of someone that has crossed, though.
Yes. Both of us.
Okay. I know this sounds odd. I have no pictures of my family up in my house anywhere. Not my mother, not my father, not my brother, not my brother's son, not my baby sister. We just don't do it. I have no Jesus pictures. I have no crosses. We have family stuff, but it's, I don't know how to explain it. We just don't do it. Not because we wouldn't do it. It's just, I don't think of it. I just don't think of it. But I know people do, and I think it's cool. In my phone, absolutely. In my car, yes. Before I came in here to do the work, I mentioned that I always go to church every time I read. I was at Mass this morning, asking the Blessed Mother to guide my work. People can laugh all they want. I don't care. If they can do this, they'll understand it too. It's a gift of grace. But if you don't understand the gift of grace, it seems like it's a novelty, like a punchline. It's not. And when you're dealing with sorrow, you have to be very careful, right? They lost their son. How do you play with that? You understand my point? Between the two of you, who had most of their stomach or their intestines removed? Okay. You personally? Okay. Stay with me. My younger son had an appendectomy when I was 5 years old. I had an appendectomy. They took out a part of my appendix. People may have an inguinal hernia. People may play and get a hernia in football or something. I'm not talking about this. Someone had their stomach opened up. You want me not to do this?
No, please do.
Okay.
Please do.
Opened up, and they removed or excised surgically tissue. Not just a little thing. Either they left them without a bowel, or they left them having to use a pouch. They left them really limited to their intestinal wall. Yes or no?
No, but I know what you're referring to.
No.
Left open with a wound vac.
Say that slow.
It was left open.
With a wound vac. I'm not sure what a wound vac means.
The belly was left open.
That's all I want. But if you're telling me that this soul, who was crossed, yes, had their belly cut open, and it was left open to the air,
Yes.
right? It was not closed before death.
No, it's not.
That's correct. Why would I tell these women about someone who had their stomach opened up, left wide open, and died that way? Right? I'm challenging you to pay attention with this. I don't know them. Right? And what I'm receiving from them, everyone in this room has them standing at their side. Every one of you. But do you see it? Or are you making it mentally into a gimmick? How heartbreaking that would be for them. But yet you pray to them. But when they answer your prayers, you say it can't be happening. Do you understand? I'm talking on their behalf. Please stop doing it to them. Please. Okay? Now, I know you're in medicine stuff. I get that. Which means you may know doctors, you may know nurses, you may know certain people. My so-and-so was in trouble. Yes? Did you do that with them? Because why is there a thing about the doctor you wanted to switch or change?
Yes.
Yes, what?
I have issues with the way that person
Well,
was treated within the house.
sometimes
Correct.
people do. If there's bed sores, if they're laying there wounded without any medications, if they're... No, I'm just giving you other options. If they weren't being fed on time, if they weren't being taken to the bathroom, if this was not being paid attention to, if the person that did the surgery never showed up, things like this. Yes or no?
It's with regards to her death.
Okay, how she crossed.
Correct.
Is this your mother?
That's my
Okay, so you're a young lady.
She's 60 years old. My 60-year-old mother.
You're a young woman. So with respect, your mother's rising. This is what this is. The identifier, which I'll explain in a minute, is what caused me to die.
Correct.
Right? Well, if you've noticed throughout the afternoon, the first thing they tell me is how they died. Do you know why? Rather than saying, I like cheesecake.
I think because we all perseverate on that instead of...
Well, of course. You have someone says to you, what happened to your mom? What a nice lady. Oh, they had to open up her stomach. They left her laying there. Yes or no? Well, what happened to your mother-in-law? Or what happened, right? They will give me the first bit of what happened, and it's usually what people will ask at a funeral. Oh, what a nice lady, or at a crematorium, or they visit the house and there's a picture on the wall with flowers. Oh, your mother died, what happened to her? That's the average person's question, yes? I think so. And it's also the last memory your body will ever have, is how you die. You don't remember your birth, but you will remember your death. You will. And it's the first thing they will share with someone like myself to make sure their loved one, you, know that she's never left you. Your mother will never leave you.
No, she's older now.
Then why are you here if you know that?
I mean, I talk to her all day, every day.
How do you know it? How do you know?
I feel her.
I'm a pain in the ass.
No, and I feel her. My daughter dreams of her.
I understand all that.
I can't interpret it.
That's
So
right.
I want to.
That's, I'm annoying.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Because I want people to think and not get swept up in, I believe.
No, absolutely.
Do you understand me? When you have direct knowing, everything changes. It will change your life. And I'm not saying this to brag. I have no grief. None. None.
I don't have your gift,
No. It doesn't require a gift. It requires the understanding of what has happened to them. Either you celebrate their rising into eternal grace and love. Now, as humans, we certainly grieve their absence, right? I'd love to hug my father again. Give me a break. I'd love to give my brother a love. I lost my baby brother. I'd love to give him a hug again. I would. Do I miss that as a human being, as a man? Of course. But where I know they've gone, if you could only see it, you would have no worries. Okay? So I have to move along. All right? I know it was brief, but I have to move along. I'm not leaving you alone. If it comes back, I will give it to you. I cannot force it. Does that make sense? Doesn't mean they're not here. It doesn't mean they don't love you. They're asking me to move this way. I got to come here. I'm trying to get to a lot of people. I'm trying to avoid him. Let me wheel up here a little bit. Now, let me ask you guys a question. I'm supposed to be done in 5 minutes. Can we stay till 4?
Yes.
Would that be okay? I'll put another half hour out here for you guys. If I can help you, I want to stay another half. Is that cool with everybody? All right. Would that be all right? I'm trying. I want to try to help as many of you as I can. So if it's okay, I'd like to do it for you, if that's okay. But I got to finish at 4 if that's cool. All right? Okay. All right. Thank you. Wow. Okay, please listen. Now, husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend? I'm just asking. You got that cross there like a thing here. I saw that in the Dracula movie. No, you got to laugh. I want you to laugh. Do you understand this is a love letter? Do you guys not understand this is a love letter that I'm reading to those that love you? That's all this is. They're asking me to open a love letter for you. That's it. Does that make sense? So when there's a love letter being offered, what's the need of protection? But I get it. I get it. I get it. There are Christian Catholic friends of mine that think I'm going to burn in hell because they say you shouldn't go to psychics. Most people have no idea what a psychic is. They don't know what a psychic energy is. They have no idea. And they use the word so freely. And at the end, before you go home, I'm going to show you what it is. And if you pay attention at the end, you don't have to come to me again. You might want to, but it won't be necessary. Okay? A little odd for a man, but I got to say it anyway. What's your name, please? Lauren. Nice to meet you, Miss Lauren, sir. Hi. Hello, Michael. Am I making you nervous, Michael? No. I make Mike nervous. Was there someone that you know, forget about him, there was someone that you know that had 3 ovaries? Or did someone have a blighted ovum or a blighted, before you say no, did someone have a pregnancy that ended internally? Come on. If you want me not to do it, I don't want to make you uncomfortable. Listen, my own wife had it a few times. My oldest daughter had. Okay, listen, I don't mean to be impolite. It's odd for me as a guy to talk about this, so I don't want to be disrespectful to you. My oldest daughter had 2 misses. My mother had 2 misses. My wife had 2 misses. Mother Nature has a way of protecting itself for the incoming child, right? Okay, I'm not talking about the interruption of a pregnancy by intent. I'm talking about a natural evolutionary process. Is that okay? Yeah. Okay. I don't know if it connects the 2 of you together this way, or if you personally, with respect, you had a relationship that something occurred and something happened, but this is public now, so I don't want to get you upset. Did that occur?
Yes.
Okay. I'm not trying to be a hard time. But if you're telling me that you were carrying a child or you believed you were pregnant or you had something, just asking. And you made a personal decision to either interrupt that or your body said, sorry, Lauren, this is not happening. And you went through this shift. Did that pregnancy take place around the ovary itself, or did it get attached to an odd spot? Or it just ended normally and you had to go to your OBGYN or something like that? I'm just asking. Okay. No, I'm not trying to cause problems here. Okay. With respect, did that occur between the union of you two? That's all I'm asking. Which simply means that there's a rising soul here like this that tells me they belong to you through him. Right? You might say logically, well, a lot of women go through that. Many women have not. Many women do. Some women don't bear children at all. Are you trying to do that now again? And that didn't happen twice. There's something bugging me. I'm not saying you're lying or anything. There's something bugging me. And either you personally or someone close, I mean close, like mother close, sister close, someone close. Did someone have this complex ovarian issue before? Don't think so quick. Are you sure about this? No one didn't have cancer to the ovary. Someone didn't have an odd anomaly in their developmental part of the female.
No.
It's here.
I do.
Okay, then come back.
That too.
You have the two.
Yeah.
All right, then hang in. I'm going to triangulate this for a second. Was someone trying to have kids that could not?
Oh, I had a situation like you were just describing, and I also have like a defect. I had heart-shaped uterus.
You do.
Yeah.
All right, then don't go far. I want to make sure, because you're in the same window. Okay? This is the first time I've spoken about this sensitive area all afternoon, right? No, hold on. This is back with her. This is back with her. Who had the deformity of the face? Did someone either have a cancer of the jaw? Before you say no. Did someone have a massive stroke or a falling of the facial tissue? Or did someone have like a significant anomaly of the face? Yes? But hold on. You're all like in this little cluster. Well, it's very similar. I understand pregnancies is a big topic. I get it. I understand. Who had this wounding of the face?
Stroke.
Who had that?
An uncle.
Crossed over? With respect. That would be your mother's brother,
Yes.
right? Mom is also crossed?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. This is coming back. I'm sorry, it's bouncing back. If you're telling me your mom is crossed,
Yes.
you're a young woman,
Mm-hmm.
you work with her with the online, whatever that thing is, but your mama has crossed.
Yes.
Her brother had a massive stroke. There are people that stroke that they may have a little arm drop or they may have a little this. I'm not talking about that. This is the big boy. Kaboom. And whether they died in a rehab or they died therapeutically at home or they were found deceased, there is something about the stroke victim. Yes or no?
Yes.
So if you saw him, was his face, oh no,
There was no coming back.
it's not what I'm asking you. Visually,
Yes.
did you see this kind of an unfortunate appearance?
When it happened.
After people have a massive stroke like that, you can see them a year later, they still have their mouth hanging.
Yes.
Like that.
Yes.
That's what I'm asking.
Yes.
I work with a bunch of them,
Yes.
so I know. So if you're telling me that someone had this kind of stroke face at your mom's brother, but your mother was also crossed, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have family from Indiana?
Yes.
Who the hell talks about Indiana?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
So if you have relatives there, or if you were married, you lived there, your ex-husband is there, whatever the case might be, they want to talk about Indiana.
Yes.
Who's there?
I have family in Indiana and we're from Illinois.
Okay, close enough.
I'm from Illinois.
Got it. So if you're, with respect to you, your mother has crossed,
Yes.
you come out of the Indiana, Illinois neck of the woods,
Yes.
right? You have the stroke uncle,
Yes.
yes? But you also lost a baby
Yes.
because they're rocking this baby in my head. Now, I'm not saying it to make you emotional, but if you have a child that died with respect in the tummy, interrupted, or life got in the way, or and what's your name again? Teresa.
Melissa.
Melissa.
Yeah.
This is hard for me. Were you married before?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You could have a friendship. You're not married, you guys, right? Okay. So you can have an adult couple. In this day and age, you can have an adult couple who chooses to have a child. They don't have to legally marry right away. They may choose not to marry. Who knows? All bets are off these days, pretty much, right? Which is fine. It's just the way it's evolving. But this is really sensitive.
Okay.
The man you were married to, did he go back to where you came from?
No.
Was he from there, or was he a New York guy? Oh, you met a New York guy. All right. You guys are no longer together?
Yes.
Is that the case?
Yes.
I'm
we're
just
no longer-
asking.
We're no longer together.
I'm just asking. Okay. So if you're no longer with the guy, was he the same guy that, with respect to you, that created the union for the baby? Or was that somebody else? Or do you not know?
No, I know.
Was it not him?
There was multiple.
Multiple marriages or multiple friendships
Multiple losses.
of a child in the womb?
Yes.
All with the same common man?
My ex and my boyfriend.
Boyfriend. Both. I know this is sensitive, so I'm going to be very careful. Was one chosen by you to do that? Did you elect to say?
Yes.
Okay, that's all I'm asking.
One.
So, yes, you did. Because, I mean, sometimes Mother Nature just kicks in, and other times you might just say, listen, I can't do this. It's just, I can't do it. And there's no judgment in me, believe me. So if you're telling me that was a choice, was that with the guy you were married to? Was that with somebody else you were seeing when you were married?
Oh, I was.
Don't say no.
With my ex.
Right. So the guy you were married to, the ex guy, it's only ex door one? Just door number one, that's it.
I'm sorry.
You weren't married more than once?
No.
So door number one guy, married guy, door
Yes.
number one. Did you interrupt that baby for him?
Yeah. Yes. I don't even know how to say it.
Well, you did it. You said yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Because of his wishes.
No. Hear me out. Your mother's telling me this whole story, including Indiana. Right? It surprised you when I said that, right? Yeah. Whenever I speak, people get surprised because they don't expect this. They expect bird feathers and I want you to believe me stuff. No disrespect to that young woman over there. I'm not made like that. I don't buy in. I come out of a cop thinking. I don't think like that, right? I need facts, right? So if you're telling me the man you were married to, things didn't work out. His behavior wasn't treating you well. He's running around with other people. He's hurting you. He's doing stupid things. Men are morons a lot of times. Well, they are. And you decided to interrupt us saying, I'm not bringing a baby into the world with this friggin' guy. Yes or no? Something similar to this. Or he said, I don't want this baby, and you got pressured into removing the baby. Yes or no?
Yes.
That's it. Why would I know any of this about you? Because your mother's soul is telling me. This is last little bit. Did you have a falling out with your mom? Or was it with your father? Who had the big distance?
I would say with my father.
Well, you're asking me like
I would say my father. But when you say distance, I mean, I left home.
Okay. Well, it's one thing to leave home as a young woman, 17, 18 out the door. It's another thing to say, I don't speak to my father. Okay. Who's estranged from you? Where does the estrangement come in? Who walked away from somebody and never came back? Yes.
I'm,
It's not me, so.
there's a lot of that.
You have a lot of estrangement?
Well, family estrangement.
Well, hold on. The word estrangement means you're a stranger to us. We don't talk to you. We don't put you on Facebook. We don't, nothing. Zero. You're out of my life, which usually occurs because there's been a hurt. You've done something stupid, and I don't want anything to do with you anymore. That's happened a lot in your family. So with respect to you, when your mother went to spirit, when your mother crossed over, was there a lot of estrangement connected to her?
No,
Only to you?
not to.
I mean, I can pseudo speak to it, but it's.
Go ahead. I'll let you know.
It may be my mother's crazy sisters.
I'm not convinced. It's not here. It's with you. I don't mean to push you off.
There, once my mother passed.
Yes.
People in the family
Split.
split.
That's it.
Because she was the one that.
That's it. Okay. So rather than unifying the family, it broke the family apart. Or they all went in their own separate directions.
Separate directions was that.
Do you not speak with them? Do you not talk with them? Once in a blue moon?
Once in a blue moon.
Okay. That's it then. So if you're telling me mama has crossed over, you had these situations with the babies, you had an ex-husband that unfortunately, you, under pressure from him though, she's telling me, that you interrupted the life of your child. Right? Again, I'm not judging anything here. I understand it's a sensitive topic in the world. I get it. I don't care about that. Right? Because the child's soul is home. I'm not worrying about that. Why would I know any of this? You understand? This is the power of a mother coming to her child. And she's telling me a little bit about her story. Are you still with your new boyfriend?
Oh, yeah. 4 years.
Who's the cop?
That's my ex-husband.
No, if you were married to
him.
if you were married to a police officer, you were married to a police officer. People get married to cops all the time. Yeah. I'm keep prodding the audience to ask themselves, how is this happening? Right? How is this happening? It's going to jump like this. Okay. All right, this is really sensitive. So it's almost like you're linked somehow. So I know it's hard, but it's what's happening. This better be wrong. Sometimes there's a decision people have to make about agreeing to let someone die, right? In my case, I found my father dead. There was no decisions. My father had Alzheimer's. I went to see him. He was in a chair, and he was dead. And I walked home, next door, and we found him, right? When my mother passed away, she knew she was dying. My mother knew she was dying. My mother was this genius. When she found out what she had medically, she said, I'll be dead in 3 days. She had a thing called Fournier's gangrene, a very rare infection. Even the specialists in infectious disease had come down to see her because some of them had never even seen it before. That's how odd it was. But when my mother heard it, she says, I'll be dead in 3 days. And she was cool with it because she was going home to my dad. She was going home to her baby daughter. She was going home to her son, my brother. So she was at ease, and we were all cool. She goes, you guys are good? Yeah, I'm good. I got to go home now. I got to go. I got to go home. That's all. I'm here 90 years. I got to go home. My father was almost 94. How long can you hang around, right? Do I miss my mother every minute of every day? Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay? But I'm driving at is this conversation here. There is something about the decision to let them die. Who made that decision? Did someone say to the medical team, let's go forward with the morphine, let's go forward with the patches? This comes in your direction, young lady. Are you sure? All right. If you're telling me someone wasn't killed in a plane crash or someone didn't fall off, die in 9/11, one of these great Americans, right? I'm not talking about sudden unexpected passing. But if you're telling me there are two people that love you, that are connected to your family, and you personally were involved in the conversations about whether they should live or die, I need to know that. Okay. I was never a part of that. We didn't need to do it for my mother. We didn't need to do it for my father, nor my brother, nor my sister. We didn't need those decisions made. They were made by the biology of the human death. But they're telling me that you assisted it. I'm not saying you put patches on them, but you may have. Are you the one that helped them cross over?
You want me to say?
Yes, now you can.
Well, there's two things that I'm thinking of.
Go ahead. I'll let you
And
know.
I know one sounds ridiculous.
No, but don't say it. Just say it.
Today's my birthday. A couple of days ago, I had my cat put down, and it was a decision that my family had made. And then the other thing is my sister's husband.
That's what I want.
It's my sister's husband.
I'm not minimizing the cat.
No, that's
Do
fine.
not misunderstand me.
He was very sick.
All right. Did you personally help your sister with his crossing? Did you say it's okay to do it? If not, it's not it.
Well, he wasn't on medicine. It was like a slow.
Listen to me again. There's a time at which you say to the medical team, today, let's do it. Or we could keep them suspended in animation for 6 months. This is what we would call a mercy leaving. Like you're saying, they're not going to get better. They don't even know they're alive. They're hardly breathing anymore. Put the patches on. Please help them transition with mercy. Let them go.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Did you personally get involved in that?
Yes, I wasn't there, but
How do you know you were involved?
because I talk to my sister every day.
Okay, let's go there. So your sister's husband passed?
Yes.
Is that what this is? Okay. Then I'm back to you.
Okay.
So if you're telling me your biological sister, your lady friend's sister, your potential sister-in-law, so to speak, like that, right? I'm not trying to get you married, but you got the point. And you're telling me, with respect to you, that you said to your sister, let it go. Get a hold of the medical team. This is time. He can't take it. The cancer's running through his body like this. Yes or no?
Yes.
So this is not a car crash where his neck is broken and he can't breathe. Yes? This is not someone that's burned from head to toe in some terrible fire. No, I'm not. That's over. And I'm only that's over. I'm talking to you. But he was dealing with cancer that spread. Yes.
Yeah.
How do I know that? How do I know that your sister was involved in her husband's decision to let him die? He is also the one, and I'm not trying to upset you, that told me about your baby. Because he's rocking the child, which means the child is safe with us. That's all. That's all. That's for you guys. Okay? I'm going to try to get to here now. I'm going to try to do another one or two. This is a big house here, right? We got to a lot of people today, dude, except him, right? Actually, I'm coming your way in a minute. Everybody gets upset if they don't get read, right? I've done a lot of readings here today, no? We've done a lot. And I'll explain it then. If I can't get to all of you, I can't get to all of you. I mean, there's over 40 people here, right? I probably read 28 people already, 30 people. A lot of people have been read, which is fine, whatever it is, it is. But coming back, with respect to both of this is a little odd. I'm not backing away from, no. Don't take that move the wrong way. I'm not backing away. I'm just, okay. Husband and wife, yes? And that's continuous. Did you guys come back to New York? Did you relocate?
Yeah.
Is that what this
yes.
is?
We were here, then we were, oh, sorry.
Yeah, don't tell me. It's like an echo of memory here. Did you ever ask me if you should move?
Yes, yes. We had a whole meeting with you about it.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, I recognize your faces, but for some reason this is rising.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you wouldn't remember.
I wouldn't remember this.
No.
But they're making me feel you were moving to the Northwest, or you're moving out east, or you're moving to Chicago, you're moving to her neck of the woods, Illinois, Indiana,
Yeah,
like that.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it. You don't want to be in Chicago now, you know.
Well, yeah, no.
Yeah, no.
No.
They have a crazy person in charge of Chicago. Well, she's crazy. I don't want to
Okay.
get the
Well,
politics.
she may not be there much longer.
There's an election coming up.
She's like a walking infection.
Wow.
She really is. And I'm a Chicago.
She's a dangerous woman, man. She's a dangerous
Wow,
woman.
Okay.
Okay, so if you're thinking about going to Chicago, don't.
Okay.
Go someplace
I
else.
think that chapter's over.
Pick someplace
It's
else.
residential.
And you have children? Or that's the children that you could not handle? That's it, okay. This is what this is. So please listen. It's very similar in a way. And I know this is sensitive to women who have children. I get it. I get it. Remember I was talking to this young woman about this odd developmental part of the ovarian, uterine developmental process? And I kept saying, did someone have 3 ovaries, like this odd anomaly of the birth process? Is that you?
Well, I have an odd-shaped uterus. That
So
makes
does that make
this difficult.
having a child difficult?
Yeah, yeah. But I have other issues too.
Okay.
Well, you said ovaries, polycystic ovary syndrome.
You do?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So if you have an ovarian issue
Yeah.
and you have this uterus that's oddly developed
Right.
in some way, biologically just didn't work out the way you had hoped,
Yeah.
right? And it prevents you from having children, yes? Or you're still trying to have kids? That's kind of already gone,
Yeah.
right? So you may have shifted into adoption thinking. I'm not saying you should. Or you may have shifted into animals, which a lot of people do. A lot of people do that. You know, they can't have
did
kids. They have
fostering.
5 dogs or whatever. I'm sorry?
We did fostering and that kind of
Fostering of children?
of dogs.
Of dogs, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, a lot of good-hearted people will do that.
Yeah.
You know, they have to put that love out somewhere,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And with respect, it's got to be a little frustrating not to be able to have the baby you want so much to have, right? That's in all fairness. I mean, I think it must be a little bit of a spiritual challenge for you, right?
Right.
Right? This part's a little sensitive. Where does the person come through that was supposed to be put in either a psych unit or a nursing unit and they didn't want to go?
That's current.
Okay, stay with me. There are people as they get older, look at me, right? We have kind of a thing in my house, unless it's absolutely medically necessary, I want to die at home. I don't want to die anywhere else. I want to die with my kids. I want to die around my dogs. I want to die with my beautiful wife. That's where I want to die. I don't want to die in some hospice at 2 a.m. by myself. But that's up to my soul, not up to others, right?
Right.
As we speak, is there someone right now in your world right now that there's a big decision to be made where to put them? Now, with my father had Alzheimer's. He didn't know what day it was, but he knew he was home. And unless he had been wandering or causing trouble or raging, there was no way they were taking my father out of the house. They'd have to kill me, really. I mean, you'd have to, I would stop them at the door. No way. But fortunately, it didn't happen that way. It was very soft, right? It didn't have any issues. But it's happening here.
Yeah.
Is this with your mom, with your dad? Who is this with? So is your dad, does he live with you?
No. That's
So does he live alone?
problem. Yeah.
Which means your mother has crossed.
Yes.
Okay. I'm not trying to make it fit, but
Yeah.
I cannot sense it. But if you're telling me as we speak, your beautiful mother's soul has moved along, right? Not away, along, different. And your father, her husband, yes, and they were still married?
Yes. They were, but there was tension.
No, more than tension.
Yeah.
But legally, maybe they were hooked up.
They
for-
lived together, they were married,
But
there
there's a
were-
lot of stress
yeah.
here.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of
Yeah,
stress.
yeah, yeah.
Because she keeps making me feel you have to do it. You have to do it.
Have to do what?
Help him move along to someplace.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but the key to this is, if he's really in with it, like it's a retirement home, or if he's going to go to
Right.
some Bristol and play golf.
How did you know? That's exactly where we wanted.
Well, I got it from the Indiana girl.
Actually, Chicago is
His mother's going to the Bristol, and we're hoping
Yeah.
my dad, once
Yes.
he sees it's not a terrible.
No,
nursing
no, it's
place,
nice. I worked there. I
beautiful.
actually worked there.
Are you kidding?
I've done
Oh,
readings for them, and the one in Westbury I did
Wow.
readings for
Oh, my
you
goodness.
long time ago. I volunteered for the elderly. Long
Okay.
time ago.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's- okay.
I try to help people if I can. But if you're telling me that,
Yeah,
and Bristol's part of it, with respect, I'm not telling you what to do,
yeah,
but that is a strong reference from your mother.
okay, well, that's the advice we were looking for.
Well,
Do we let it, because he doesn't want
no.
to do anything or.
Let him go.
To try to really.
It will be good for him.
Because it's different than what you were saying. You were saying my dad should stay put, but they're saying no, try to get.
Try
him
to
to
move,
Bristol.
yeah.
Okay.
And no, what I said was in my father's case, I wouldn't allow for it.
Yeah.
He didn't have these complications.
Okay,
But if your dad is wandering, or if he's moving around, or he's just very lonely and he's just
Yeah.
tired,
right,
they have a very good core of people there that I've met, at least as far as I know. I'm not
Okay.
selling the place, I don't know. But they're mentioning the Bristol to me specifically.
that's exactly
And,
where we'd
and
like
if your
him to
mom is
go.
already there,
She's going there this month.
2 weeks.
so they get a package deal,
Right, right, exactly.
like a double dip.
Right. And this is in Inglewood, New Jersey, but I know that they're all nice.
Yeah,
all the
but that's the
Bristol's.
answer.
Okay.
Okay?
That's what we were looking
All
for.
right.
Thank you.
All right. It's 5 to 4. Can I help you with some other stuff? Because I have to get off the readings now. Is that okay? No, it's not okay.
I just want to know, should I not book my trip to Chicago today? Because I actually have it on my computer.
Make sure you have a round-way ticket getting home.
I do.
And don't fly Southwest.
Southwest.
The mayor won't impact your trip.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not,
That was
I
funny.
am not booking it
That's
today.
funny.